looking forward with the idea of the National Infrastructure Fund, which also was backed up with what is called the National Sovereign Wealth Fund. And I think, Mr. Speaker, this is a very brilliant idea that can be able to help our country move forward. Mr. Speaker, I must comment here that this House of Senate has originated some very important bills that sometimes the National Assembly do not appreciate that they can.
Clerk, give Senator Eddy just 1 minute to summarize his contribution.
Yes, I was just saying, Mr. Speaker, that, for instance, the National Sovereign Wealth, the National Sovereign Wealth Fund is something that I have proposed in this House. It's a bill, actually, that is ongoing through scrutiny in this House, Mr. Speaker, that nobody has appreciated. When we talk about stabilizing our revenue structure, this is something that has come from this House that I think that it will be important that when our bills come from this House, they are appreciated, and when they go to the National Assembly, Mr. Speaker, they are supported, because they are some of the most wonderful ideas that can help this country move forward. With that, Mr. Speaker, I wish to support and second and appreciate all at the same time. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Eddy Okech. Senator... I'm just checking. Senator Joyce Korir. Oh, okay, sorry. Thank you, Senator Eddy. Thank you, Clerk, for that clarification. Honorable Senators, having had the motion being seconded, I now propose the question. Honorable Senators, I propose the question that, pursuant to Standing Order 27.6, the Senate, A, records its thanks for the exposition of public policy contained in the address of His Excellency the President, delivered on Thursday, 20th November 2025, and laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, 25th November 2025, and B, notes the following report submitted by His Excellency the President in fulfillment of Article 132, Sub-Article 1C1, and Article 240, Sub-Article 7 of the Constitution, laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, 25th November 2025. 1. 12th Annual Report on all measures taken and progress achieved in the realization of national values and principles of governance. And 2. The Annual Report to Parliament on the State of the National Security 2025. National Security 2025. Now, Honorable Senators, this motion is available for comments, and I will invite the members who requested to comment on the motion. I'll start with Senator Joyce Korir. Clerk, give Senator Joyce the microphone.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to also give my views on the State of the Nation address by His Excellency the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Honorable Speaker, as it has been proposed by my honorable colleagues, Honorable Speaker, allow me to really thank the government for the strides that they have made since the inception of these, or since they came to power in 2022. Honorable Speaker, this government came in at such a time when things were so tough, when life was so hard, when the prices of the basic needs were so much higher, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I just want to thank His Excellency the President for making sure that this country is unified, not only politically, but socially, and economically, Honorable Speaker. Today, as we speak, we are speaking from the perception of the broad-based government. The broad-based government that has brought everyone on board, Honorable Speaker. I must commend the honorable members of the two houses, because a government or the executive cannot be able to deliver if not through the support of these houses. I extend my appreciation to the entire staff of this house, of the both houses, because they've been able to assist the honorable members to make sure that they discharge their services accordingly, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to speak about agriculture, because this is the main backbone of this country. Honorable Speaker, I can attest that through the subsidy of fertilizer, a number of Kenyans can be able to smile today because they have food on their table. This has been a challenge, but it has given us hope as a house to know that we can do more. If we can if we can subsidize the fertilizer, if we can subsidize the seeds, if we can equip our farmers in terms of diversifying the crops. Honorable Speaker, I can attest that as of now, the country has seen an increase in terms of productivity, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also want to talk about the issue of tea, which has become very emotional. It has become something that has been, I can say, it's part of the challenges that we have still in agriculture. But I want to believe that the strides that they have been made, I've seen a number of committees going to the ground, trying to do the fact findings of what is really causing the decrease in terms of their bonuses. And Honorable Speaker, I can assure the Kenyans that the government is on top of things in terms of making sure that this issue is addressed once and once for all, ranging from the quality to the issues of the markets and the pay, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also want to say that agriculture has played a key role when it comes to the issues. Of course, Kenya is known for productivity in terms of milk and other farm produce, Honorable Speaker. And as we speak now, I can say we can't compare the last years with the current years in terms of pay. Honorable Speaker, I must commend the government. Despite the fact that, Honorable Speaker, the government is struggling, the president is struggling together with the relevant stakeholders, that is the executive, the legislature. I know we are not perfect, but we try our best, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, there have been a challenge. You remember when we came to this government, there were a lot of stories when it comes to the issues of construction of some of the roads. This is one of the challenges that we've been having in this country, to an extent that it had become like a joke. But I want to confirm that a number of roads that were proposed are now under completion, Honorable Speaker, including the Talanta Stadium, Honorable Speaker. So I want to say that we must thank the government for the steps that they have taken. And we have to be very keen also as a house, because this is a house of representation, say that the contractors who are on site should spend the monies prudently and give the correct services to the Kenyans. Bearing in mind, Honorable Speaker, a number of roads have been done, and within a period of 1 year or 2 years, the same road is worn out, forcing this house again to budget for the same, Honorable Speaker. It's high time that us, as a representative of the common mwananchi, make sure that the contractors who are on site are able to deliver according to the specification, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, when it comes to mothers' health, I want to thank the government for the efforts that they have put forward in terms of making sure that we have the health promoters that are moving within our villages to enlighten our people, to assist in terms of making sure that things are put straight. That is to a tune of 107,000 employees. Despite the shortcomings that maybe sometimes their stipends takes time, but I want to say they are doing a very commendable job back at home, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the expanded health coverage has covered around 24 million people. And I want to commend the government because this is for the first time, Honorable Speaker. We used to have the NHIF, which was marred with a lot of corruption issues, Honorable Speaker. But I want to thank God because of the new scheme, which is, though they have a lot of shortcomings, it is a good progress because there is a solution. And they are moving towards making sure that they perfect to make sure that the Kenyans who are still suffering while using the SHA can be able to access medication, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, there is an issue of job creation for our youth. I know within housing and a number of sectors, we've been able to see what the government has done. For example, with the TSC, you understand, Honorable Speaker, education is key. And it's the only equalizer that can bring the poor and the rich to the same table, Honorable Speaker. I must thank the government for taking lead in terms of employing the highest number of teachers to a tune of 76. And we expect more before even the end of the term. Honorable Speaker, sometimes you hear people singing during rallies with a slogan 2-term. It's not just the word of 2-term, Honorable Speaker, it is the word of 2-term based on the works that is being done in the ground. Honorable Speaker, we can attest a number of things. This is a hustler government. And this government, Honorable Speaker, played a big role in enlightening the hustler people and telling them of how they are going to improve their lives. I can attest, Honorable Speaker, today that the hustlers have been able to get wonderful markets. The government has constructed a number of markets where our women who have been selling along the road are happy because as we speak today, they have wonderful amenities where they can sell their produce, they can keep their produce, they can have all the amenities that they want, Honorable Speaker. And I want to say, despite the fact that a number of counties might not have gotten the opportunity to have, but I can attest, we've made a good stride on that, Honorable Speaker. Not only that, there was also the aspect of supporting the youth through the Nyota program, which I know a number of us saw it the other day when it was being rolled by the government, assisting our youth with 50,000 shillings and enlightening them on how best they can do these businesses, Honorable Speaker. I want to say that we must commend the government and we must embrace and also continue supporting our youth in making sure that they are trained to be able to utilize the resources and be able to prosper, Honorable Speaker. Not only that, Honorable Speaker, a number of youths have been able to get access to job opportunities outside the country. The only challenge that we might be having sometimes is the process that is taking long. But I want to say that as we speak now, there is a great change. We have seen the fruits, and that is why we are speaking of 2-term for this government to be able to actualize the manifesto that they had given to the citizens. Otherwise, Honorable Speaker, I want to say I commend the work done by His Excellency the President, Dr. William Ruto. I commend the broad-based government for the unity that they have given to this country, and we are hoping for the best in the near future. Otherwise, I beg to move. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Okay, very well. Next is Senator Chalagai Samson Kiprotich.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. As I rise to...
Just a minute.
Okay.
Senator Tobiko Pelis, you are bordering on a very dangerous grounds. I'm the chair of this session. You know, seasoned senators know how to go about it. Actually, you are the third on the line, the third, Senator Peris.
Can I proceed, Speaker?
Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the same spirit, I want to congratulate Senator Crystal Lasige. Mr. Speaker, she's launching a single called Better this Friday. And it is going to be one of the inspirational album sings, Mr. Speaker. And I'm happy. I listened to her at Energy Radio, and she wants a better for this country the way President William Ruto wants this country to move from third world to the first class. And we congratulate her in advance. I hope we can attend her launch of the single album called Better. It's one of the best songs that I've listened of recently. It is not allowed in standing orders. I would have belted one or two lines, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to congratulate the President. In as much as he is fulfilling his constitutional duty under Article 132 of the Constitution, this was one of the brilliant, pragmatic, and the real status of how the government is as of today. The government of 2022, when President William Ruto took over, many Kenyans were hopeless. The economy was going down, Mr. Speaker. Even devolution was almost collapsing. But thanks to the God-given leadership style of His Excellency President Dr. William Ruto, this country is rising like a phoenix, Mr. Speaker. And we are steadily moving from the third world to first world. Mr. Speaker, you listen to Prime Minister Malaysia Anwar urging the president to be tough. In as much as we are democratic, he must be tough so that transformation can happen in this country, Mr. Speaker. So in a nutshell, I want to say the president's speech was like a dress called miniskirt, long enough to cover essentials, but short enough to arouse curiosity and give hope to many Kenyans, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me go now to a few issues so that I can allow my colleagues to delve also. Mr. Speaker, one is on the issue of foreign direct investment. You know, we have been still told hawkwash, Mr. Speaker. You have the people are closed shop, companies are moving out of the country, but the facts as they are. And I want to ask media. I've seen media trying to fact check what the president said. It is embarrassing because the figures media are getting do not come even from Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. They are getting their own facts from roadside agenda, Mr. Speaker. We want to ask the media to stop fact-checking. What the president presented is the true position. It is from Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. Mr. Speaker, you know we have been sold this story that companies are running out of the country. It is not true. In fact, you can see in 2021, there was foreign direct investment of 60 billion. In 2024, Mr. Speaker, it has risen to 195 billion. So that one shows that investors continue to have great and exceptional confidence with the President Ruto's government, Mr. Speaker. That is why businesses are opening. That's why the country is opening up for business, Mr. Speaker. It is the prophets of doom, the naysayers, that the Bible condemns them. They are called Sanballat, Mr. Speaker. You remember the story of Nehemiah when he went to rebuild the wall of Jerusalem. The Sanballats of then, who are here today, the disunited opposition, told Nehemiah in the Bible that even if an hyena or a dog stands on the wall, it collapses. The Sanballat of today did not want to listen to facts. And that is why they have gone to media to try and distort the facts, Mr. Speaker. So I want to continue to ask all foreign investors to do business in Kenya. Kenya is an oasis of peace in Eastern Central Africa. Kenya is strategic, Mr. Speaker. Kenya is warm. That is why our slogan is Hakuna Matata. That is why this is the country that has all the five, Mr. Speaker, the big five in this country. The famous world is we want tourism to grow, Mr. Speaker. And in that bread, I want to thank the President for transferring Amboseli, and even Kajiado also for transferring both in Masai Mara and Amboseli to Kajiado and Narok respectively, Mr. Speaker. It is the belief and the faith that that heritage belongs to those people, Mr. Speaker. And I have heard the governor of Nairobi saying that he should also be collecting revenue from Nairobi National Park. But he has not even fixed the county. If he cannot collect the kiosk revenue, which capacity does he have to collect revenue from Nairobi National Park? He should first fix the county. When he has fixed the county, the Nairobi city, Mr. Speaker, there are potholes in this town. Even when you drive special utility vehicle, SUVs, when you go to those potholes, it is a bit less potholes, Mr. Speaker. Number two, Mr. Speaker, is on the issue of agriculture. I want to thank the President. I agree with my sister. We appreciate the subsidy program. What we want to appeal to our counties, and Mr. Speaker, this is where the disconnect is. As the President moves to ensure there is subsidy program of fertilizer, Mr. Speaker, let the counties do what we call last mile distribution of fertilizer, Mr. Speaker. For example, in Nandi, I have 4 or 5 depots of National Cereals and Produce Board. One in Celia, another one in Lesos, another one in Mosoria, Mr. Speaker, and another one in Maraba Tindret, and a temporary one in Kobuja in Aldai, Mr. Speaker. But most of us are farmers. To get somebody to travel from Sangalo all the way to Celia to get fertilizer, Mr. Speaker, is very expensive. They would have used the same money to access. To get somebody to travel from Gachagua Longet all the way to Mosoria to get fertilizer is expensive. Or even from Chemamul, Mr. Speaker. The same to people, because we have Lesos one. To get somebody to travel from Oko Beach or all the way from Nandales to come and access fertilizer in Lesos depot is very expensive. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the President for the subsidized fertilizer. That's why we had overwhelming. Mr. Speaker, and that is why in this coming year, because of assured food security, you will not see any person wearing safurias in the streets. Those safurias will be put for cooking food in our various homes. And I think, Mr. Speaker, how the country operates is when the population can get something to eat. I know there is a challenge in this country that there is what we call up and poor. You know, people have pocketed, Mr. Speaker, like in our slums, that they don't have 3 square meals, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is the first time we are going to collect maize over 76 million bags, Mr. Speaker, in maize. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I want to request and the CS of Agriculture and National and Cereals Produce Board, Mr. Speaker. Under the crops 2018, all cereals must be 50 kilos, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, to us who are maize farmers, we are very sad, Mr. Speaker, because it is only maize among the cereal that is 90 kilos instead of 50 kilos, Mr. Speaker. Potatoes is 50, beans is 50, the macadamia is 50, dengu is 50 kilos. Why, when it comes to maize, it is 90, Mr. Speaker? And I want to challenge National Cereals and Produce Board to follow the Crops Act of 2018 that demanded all cereals must be 90 kilos, Mr. Speaker. We hope NCPB and Ministry of Agriculture will issue a circular because we are harvesting, Mr. Speaker. This is harvesting season, and we don't want to experience what we call post-harvesting. On the issue of tea, we are still sad. I'm happy the Deputy President, Professor Kithure Kindiki, when he came to Nandi, he assured the tea farmers that he's going to sit with us, especially from the West Rift, from Bomet, Kericho, Kisii, Nyamira, Nandi, and Uasin Gishu, and even Bungoma, where tea is grown, even Trans Nzoia, Mr. Speaker, so that even Vihiga, so that we can sit and look at the low bonuses, Mr. Speaker, and poor tea pricing, Mr. Speaker. It is so sad. Mr. Speaker, you saw I brought a statement where they are still using tanks to test tea in Mombasa, Mr. Speaker. God forbid, if you are testing 10 glasses of tea sampling, and that person has passed the house of Nyasi, what do you call allow me with Nyumba ya Nyasi, maybe he had taken something somewhere that is other than tea or juice or water, Mr. Speaker. Will he still feel the same testing when they are sampling tea? No. So that is the issue of we need to establish testing centers, especially in the West of Rift, And I have agreed with colleagues, parliamentarians, that we need to actualize. So on the issue of agriculture, Mr. Speaker, the president has done very well, even in sugar sector. For the first time, sugar farmers are going to get bonus, Mr. Speaker, just like tea farmers, which is very unique under President William Ruto's administration, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I don't want to, in agriculture, the only problem we are facing now, Mr. Speaker, and I know it's also in Meru, because also we produce milk, you realize KCC has delayed paying farmers for the last 4 months. Mr. Speaker, I want to challenge the KCC management, new KCC, to ensure before we go to December, all farmers that are supplying milk, Mr. Speaker, that are supplying milk to KCC must and should be paid before. That is the best Christmas gift to our farmers going into the future, Mr. Speaker, because it's unfortunate. The 50th point, Mr. Speaker, I am happy that over 27 million Kenyans have registered under SHA. I want to repeat and encourage Kenyans and assure them that SHA is working. For us who work around our constituencies over the weekend, you meet testimony. I know when you go to Pastor Nganga's church, Mr. Speaker, in Neno Evangelism, there is what we call Ushuhuda time. The testimony has, because we are also like preachers, whenever we work, even in Meru and in Nandi and in Bomet, and even in Mombasa, and even in Kajiado, and even in Bungoma, is that SHA is working. That is why over 27 million Kenyans have registered, against 55 million, Mr. Kenya. And when I said here that young people should not fear to get married and get children because SHA is working, it's true. 10,000 for natural delivery, Mr. Speaker, 30,000 for CS operations, Mr. Speaker. SHA is even enhanced the critical care, Mr. Speaker, fund that will ensure when even you are traveling, even to India for medication, you are given up to half a million, Mr. Speaker. That proves that SHA is working. Universal health coverage, Mr. Speaker, I want to challenge my colleagues under Article 43. Access to health care is a human right, Mr. Speaker. And that is why the President is pushing for SHA to ensure the HC, UHC, universal health coverage is ensured, Mr. Speaker. And I want to continue to appeal and encourage the Ministry of Health and CS Duale to proceed and ensure each and every Kenyan has access to SHA services, Mr. Speaker. That is how we'll give value to each and every Kenyan. The sixth point, Mr. Speaker, was on the issue of teachers. There is no government since Jesus 2000 before Christ, Jesus lived. No government in Kenya has hired 76,000 teachers in one go. This is a miraculous government, Mr. Speaker. And before the new year for CBE, in grade 9, the government will add another 20,000. I want to encourage, Mr. Speaker, because I know your phone. You just showed me your phone a few minutes ago, that most of the JSS interns are texting us that confirm us to permanent and pensionable. We are aware they are earning 17,000, Mr. Speaker, which is not even enough, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm told even it is breaking their marriages, because as a JSS teacher, you cannot live with your wife in Nairobi. You leave them in Mulot, somewhere in Bomet, or you leave them in Mosoriat in Nandi, so that you can save a little, Mr. Speaker. I want to challenge TAC, because we have given them money through budget. They must confirm the 20,000 junior secondary schools interns under permanent and pensionable, and ensure their salaries is commensurate under Salaries and Remuneration Commission. So I want to appeal to JSS, who are sending us a lot of messages, that we have heard you, the government is on it, they will be confirmed into permanent and pensionable. The ones who have 1 year extension will be. Mr. Speaker, I agree that 1 year contract is sufficient for any teacher to be transited. And I agree with even the youth, Mr. Speaker. The issue of internship, we have brought a motion, I want to thank the House, that anybody who goes to internship, they should go for 12 months. After that, they must and should be absorbed into permanent and pensionable under Public Service Commission or under county government, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on affordable housing, I want to encourage Kenyans, this is a reality, Mr. Speaker. Whenever I overfly Meru, whenever I overfly Bomet, Nairobi, Kisumu, Nandi, the issue of affordable housing program has changed the skyline of our cities and towns, Mr. Speaker. We need to move with that precision and ensure we assist the President. Mr. Speaker, I would want to ice the cake of the presidential address, Mr. Speaker, with the issue, Mr. Speaker, with the issue of infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, we are excited, and I expected my sister to touch on it, that on 28th, this Friday, all of us, led by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, will be added to the launch of the dwelling of Rironi, Uplands, Mau Summit, Malaba Road, even via Kericho to Kisumu to Malaba, Mr. Speaker. This is momentous occasion. The western part of Kenya, I know you come from Murema, Mr. Speaker, but we have suffered, Mr. Speaker. If the president will ensure this dwelling of Uplands, Mau Summit, Eldoret, Malaba, Mr. Speaker, and I beg for only 2 minutes, Mr. Speaker, because I will get emotional, Mr. Speaker, just 2 minutes only. Mr. Speaker, this dwelling of Uplands, Mauroni, Malaba, if the president dwells this, Mr. Speaker, I can tell you, it will change our lives. There will be more weddings. There will be more business.
Now, Senator Chalage, you know you must be observant on the lights from green to yellow to red. So you cannot keep on adding more time. Maybe 30 seconds to say goodbye.
The opening of dwelling of Rironi, Mau Summit, Malaba will increase more weddings, more businesses, more interaction, Mr. Speaker, and even infrastructures in our counties. Even Nandi now, Mr. Speaker, there are many roads that have been earmarked for tarmac. Mr. Speaker, with the performance of the president, I can assure you 2-term will all be there for the His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, because he has a clear vision and agenda for this country, Mr. Speaker. With those many remarks, I beg to support the State of the Nation address by His Excellency, the President 2025, and 2-term is now a reality.
You know, I want to follow this list religiously. I can see Senator Nyonka is not around. Next is Senator Pelis, Tobiko.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to join my colleagues in registering my appreciation to the President on the State of the Nation address, Mr. Speaker, to Parliament. Mr. Speaker, I was in the House. I sat very close to the front to keenly listen to the President. I watched the body language, Mr. Speaker, and I listened to every single word that he said that day. Mr. Speaker, this is what I will say, that the President's vision for this country is very clear. His intention is good, Mr. Speaker, and so far, Mr. Speaker, he has managed to stabilize the country in a number of fronts, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in the notable successes, Mr. Speaker, particularly is the stabilization of the Kenyan shilling, Mr. Speaker, and the control of inflation. Mr. Speaker, I think this is a notable success, you know, for this regime, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, across the country, in a number of places, you will see the housing program, the affordable housing coming up, and I believe this one will change lives, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is true that food production has improved because of the subsidized fertilizers, Mr. Speaker, and that has improved the food security in our country. Mr. Speaker, it's also true that SHA is registering improvement in the access to health services. This is a feedback we are getting from at the county levels whenever we visit different counties, Mr. Speaker, on our oversight role. They say it's better than NHIF, but it can be better. It can be better, Mr. Speaker, because, Mr. Speaker, there are terminal illnesses in this country that are bedeviling a number of people, cancer being one of the leading diseases today that are impoverishing Kenyans, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the day we will be able to meet the costs of health without Kenyans going back into their pockets, without Kenyans doing the popular fundraisers, Mr. Speaker, is the day we will know we have finally achieved. Mr. Speaker, as we applaud the President for the success and for the good initiatives, Mr. Speaker, we must also give him truthful feedback from the ground, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are still doing fundraisers. And this one, Mr. Speaker, if we lie to the President, we will not be helping Kenyans, we will not be helping the head of state, Mr. Speaker, to improve what he has already initiated and is working, but must be improved, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, last weekend, we were doing a fundraiser for a lady, a wife of a chief in my area, who has now been taken to India for medication, Mr. Speaker, and this treatment out of the country is costing millions. And this is not one patient, it is several patients, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, even as we go the route of SHA, and it is better than NHIF, and it is already making strides, Mr. Speaker, we must insist that Kenyans should not bear the burden of health services, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is also notable that Kenya has been able to do better in debt servicing, Mr. Speaker, and restoration of fiscal discipline, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the head of state is taking this country in the right direction. Mr. Speaker, the recruitment of teachers, 76,000 teachers, Mr. Speaker, has improved the teacher-student ratio, Mr. Speaker. Our education sector is stabilizing, Mr. Speaker. And this one, Mr. Speaker, is a big achievement for this regime that is only less than 3 years old, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I listened to the President when he talked about my pet subject of infrastructure across the country, Mr. Speaker. The roads that the President had mentioned for the additional for dualing, Mr. Speaker, were quite a number. Muthaiga, Kiambu, Ndumberi, Machakos Junction, Mariakani, all those. But let me localize the issue to Kajiado, Mr. Speaker, because I listened keenly that there was a dualing that will commence for at the river Namanga. Mr. Speaker, there was also the dualing of Bomas Karen Ngong, Bomas Ongata Rongai Kiserian, and Ngong Isinya, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we can't wait for this to be done. I believe this will improve the movement of people and goods, particularly those Kenyans who work in Nairobi and go back to their residences in Kajiado, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is well noted. But, Mr. Speaker, it's also good to bring the feedback of what Kenyans noted with this speech, because they were listening together with us. They were in their homes keenly following, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, a lot of people in Kajiado have told me in the dueling of at the river Namanga, there are quick wins that the President could initiate. Within that dueling, Mr. Speaker, what is becoming a major problem for the people of Kajiado on that road is the gridlock, the jam at Kitengela. And so, even before we do the entire dualling of the road to Namanga, Mr. Speaker, if bypasses, link roads are opened up in Kitengela so that there is no jam, then the movement will be smooth, will be faster, will save on time and costs, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is the feedback from the people of Kitengela. The people of Kitengela need bridges, Mr. Speaker, because of the population now, so that people can also comfortably go across the town on foot, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the dualling of Ngong-Isinya, that includes the Kiserian Pipeline Road. Mr. Speaker, I was in functions in Kajiado West and Kajiado East this weekend. And Mr. Speaker, people were telling me the Kiserian Pipeline Road at the moment has no jam. In fact, what will assist the people of Kajiado more is an opening up, tarmacking of, link roads to that road, Mr. Speaker. There is the corner Baridi, Inkito to Kajiado Road. That if that one was tarmacked, will be more fruitful for the people of Kajiado. Mr. Speaker, if the Tuala Kitengela Road is completed because it was started, the tarmacking of that road, Mr. Speaker, can create a very good bypass for the Nairobians, for the people of Tuala, Rongai, to Kiseria, and to Kitengela, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, along the same road of Kiserian, oh no, that cannot be. Along that road, Mr. Speaker, if they open up Birika and Ngasiti, and on the other side, if they open up and tarmac Isinya Konza, Mr. Speaker, the people of Kajiado will be fruitful. Mr. Speaker, I don't know why the light has already gone yellow, because I have not used time. Mr. Speaker, Kajiado is part of the metropolitan area. Mr. Speaker,
we have 4.5 minutes.
All right, Mr.
Don't panic. Proceed.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, for the metropolitan transport system to be complete, Kajiado must be part of that infrastructural development, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Kiambu, Nairobi, Machakos, Moranga have already received very good in structural development, bypasses, Mr. Speaker, very good roads, Mr. Speaker, but the people of Kajiado are still watching Nairobi from a very near distance, but it looks very far because we have no roads. Mr. Speaker, I want to give you an example of a road that I have mentioned in this house, and I will continue mentioning. A road that has been done from Mombasa Road, Stoniathi, just to, it looks like it was targeting to assist one facility, and after that, it is stopped. If only this road crossed the railway line to the schools in Kajiado, Naserian, Irpolosat, Mr. Speaker, or Naserian and KCA, KAG University, Mr. Speaker, the area will be opened up, Mr. Speaker. And a lot of you are starting homes in that area, Mr. Speaker. And they say there is no development, Mr. Speaker. These Kenyans who are moving from Nairobi to Kajiado, they need transport, they need roads, Mr. Speaker. They need to access Nairobi on a daily basis, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, let me say the President did very well in addressing some of the historical injustices. It might not have been mentioned in the speech, but the people of Kajiado acknowledge the transfer of Amboseli to Kajiado County. Mr. Speaker, in the same breath, I am telling the President there is a section called Oloirien, 74,000 acres, which was meant to be a wildlife corridor that has been a case in court, Mr. Speaker, between KWS and the community, Mr. Speaker. This needs to be part of the Amboseli dispersal area and needs to be recovered quickly, Mr. Speaker, reinstated to Kajiado County and to the Amboseli, ecosystem, Mr. Speaker. The sheep and goat, Mr. Speaker, and Pakasi Ranch needs to be brought back to the community because, Mr. Speaker, it is Kajiado that is the dispersal area for the wildlife in Nairobi National Park, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we need community lands to be addressed. We need justice for the people of Shompole in Magadi, Mr. Speaker, on the issues of their land, Mr. Speaker. Kibiko and Vet Farm, Mr. Speaker, in Ngong, should not be shared in boardrooms in Nairobi, Mr. Speaker. The community needs to be the ones to distribute the land or to occupy the land, Mr. Speaker, so that we feel our lands have come back to the community, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on the issues of irrigation, the Ololo-Itikoshi Dam, which the designs had been done and completed, needs now to be, fast-tracked so that the Kitengela people, Isinya, can also, get enough water. Because, Mr. Speaker, we've been getting water from Nairobi. Mr. Speaker, on the issues of livestock products and value addition. Mr. Speaker, we are the people who have lots of hides and skins. And for production of handbags, shoes, leather shoes, Mr. Speaker, we could definitely be part of the net exporters in this country if we harvest this resource, Mr. Speaker. And milk production, Mr. Speaker, it's not possible for us to bring our milk to Nairobi without roads, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we want
next is Senator Abbas Sheikh Mohammed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to also join my colleagues to contribute to the Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya's Nation Address. Honorable Speaker, honestly, the address was giving Kenyans a big dream. It gave Kenyans hopes that the President was really dreaming big. And I think that kind of daring and that kind of, focus is actually where we can be able to reach far. He had no fears that he had a dream that Kenya will soon join the first world. And the President said that it is possible and it can be done. And I also believe that it can be done. Honorable Speaker, the focus he gave was that by the time for the last 3 years, I think we were able to stabilize our economy. The dollar reserve has grown up. The dollar has come down from 167 or 68, somewhere there, to 129, which are shillings. I think that is actually, and it's stabilized there for a long time now. It has not changed. Honorable Speaker, the GDP increased from 115 to 136,000. And I think that's a big increase. And inflation dropped from 9.6 to 4.6. And I think it's still controlled. And the country now is trying to stabilize economically. And I believe that is actually where we're supposed to head to. Because in the past, everybody was worried about the pricing of food,
about the economy. The dollar was so high. I think it's only the exporters who were enjoying more. The Kenyans were having challenges, even to buy vehicles and anything, essential drugs and everything. Honorable Speaker, a country that cannot feed itself cannot claim to be independent. But the country, what the president has done, is also to look into the agriculture sector. Food production has increased. The staple food is maize. Maize increased from 44 million bags from 2022 to 66 million in 2024. And currently, it's expected that we will be harvesting 70 million bags of maize that will be able to take care of the Kenyans' need. And therefore, we will be able to minimize the kind of, exporting food and these things. Honorable Speaker, the youth program, we have so many unemployed youth. And, we are also expanding our education system. We are expanding our universities, and more students are transiting from the secondary schools, from high schools to universities as a result of the CBC. And you expect a big number of students going to school, going to universities. And I must say that the universities are now expanded, despite the challenges the teachers have, the lecturers have, in terms of payment. And I think that one can be done at least. The universities themselves must come up with an idea or a system that they can be able to sustain the universities. They must come with, a kind of an economic issues where they can improve. Some of them, like, Edison University, like even lower universities, these people have vast land which have actually remained unutilized. Edison University was well known for its food production and milk. But of course, I think the universities are now so much dependent on the government. And therefore, the university to stabilize itself and be able to pay the teachers and the students' welfare, they must think now economically that people could be able to produce their own wealth and own food so that they can be able to subsidize the government grants. Honorable Speaker, in agriculture, I think the government have done well, especially in the supply of fertilizers. But of course, we now have the KenGen program, where they are going to have our own fertilizers that can be produced somewhere in Nakuru. And I think you guys now that's positive way of going to that's the way to go, because I think we're spending a lot of money in buying fertilizer from outside. And then credit to farmers also is very important. I think there's a plan for giving farmers subsidies so that at least they can produce more food, especially the tea and maize, which is actually a very essential crop that we cannot be able to live without it. Honorable Speaker, on the health sector, I must say SHA is working, from my experience. I know there's a lot of politics in SHA, but of course in any program that is starting has its own teething problems. And it's actually the high time that we must give the government time to stabilize, to be able to improve on the SHA services. And of course you're hearing there's a lot of, corruption going on, especially the service providers. Everybody is now rushing to open a hospital, even those who are not qualified to open a hospital. And I think what is happening currently is actually to stabilize the issues, to see that these people who are operating VEC hospitals and health centers will be dealt with according to the way things are now moving. Everything's been now taken to, what do you call it? They are being registered. And I think this business of selling and making big claims will soon die. One other sector is actually, which is doing very well now, and I think the government has done very well, and this was in the speech of the president, is the education sector. Honorable Speaker, one thing I want to commend His Excellency the President. We used to experience in northern Kenya, actually big challenges. Shortage of teachers all over. We've been crying for the last 10 years. But now that I can tell you, today, in every county of northern Kenya, there's a teachers' college. And so many students are now coming out, and very soon, Northern Kenya will produce surplus teachers that they can be able to teach other parts of the country. There will be no more teachers' college in Northern Kenya. And I think that I must say, and I applaud the President for the support he has given, so that the Northern Kenya people do not have shortage of teachers. Honorable Speaker, I also know every county now has TVETs, these technical colleges. There have been 718,000 students that are now in those colleges. And I think by the time those students will be leaving, we'll be having a technical-oriented country where students can be self-employed, where we can go now, because the country is supposed to go to technology, improve technology. The country now is going to develop. In 2030, we must be able to do our own things, where with the help of these education systems, then we can be able to produce more of technical-oriented students. Honorable Speaker, one other thing is that the infrastructure has been improved. The students are now becoming many. Most of the students are now exiting to high schools and junior secondary schools. And the government has taken a very serious and improved system where the infrastructure is now being improved. And I think many classrooms are coming more and more are coming up. And soon we will be having enough infrastructure in the schools where our students can be able to enjoy learning places. Honorable, so one other thing is that teachers are employed. I think from 2 years ago, from 76,000, they have employed 76,000, government employs 76,000, and this year they are planning to employ 24,000. This makes 100,000 teachers. And I think that's a big number to be able to reduce the teaching fraternity, the gaps that we experience in teaching within the teaching the number of our teachers. Honorable Speaker, one other thing is the government has done, and I must applaud the President. There was a little bit move to increase the budget of education from 409 billion to 700 billion this year. And I think it's a great improvement. We must applaud the government for that. Honorable Speaker, I think mine will not be very many things. One other thing is the housing sector. One thing I think most of the people never believed, the low-cost houses will be able to move fast, will be able to at least help Kenyans. But one thing I can assure you, the way things are moving, even in my own home, where maybe nobody was thinking about low-cost housing, I already have about 200 units that are under construction. They're about to be completed in my county. And we were wondering what we're going to do with those houses, because people live in, in the small houses. They use the small dingiras, they use the local herios. But of course, this actually has even improved the towns, the way it looks like. The town now is becoming like, high-rise buildings are coming up, and it's a kind of beautification for the towns that have experienced the construction of, low-cost houses. Honorable Speaker, it is my hope that many Kenyans will be able to be accommodated in these low-cost houses, and it's possible that we have seen the Excellency of the President has actually made a deliberate move to at least give housing to every county, so at least Kenyans can also have an equal opportunity to own houses in future. Honorable Speaker, one other thing which was actually commendable is actually improving and dwelling of roads. It is like a big dream, actually. I was asking myself, in 10 years, can you be able to do 27,000 kilometers dwelling? But of course, the President said it is possible. And of course, it is possible. Honorable Speaker, for my area, of course, much has not been said, but I must commend the government and His Excellency the President for taking a deliberate move to be able to give us to tarmac 750 kilometers from Isiolo to Mandera. This is actually a wonderful move, and I must say thank you to the President for the bold step he has taken. And I will wish to say that the construction of that road is going slow. Hopefully, those concerned and His Excellency the President will hear me to say that this road must be completed as agreed, and we look forward that the road from Isiolo to Mandera, Wajir, Garissa, all this will be opened up, and that road, it's actually the Horn of Africa road, that will open this country's economy for Ethiopia, Somalia, and Djibouti, and all this, the northern part of the country. And I think this is a very important infrastructure development, and I want to applaud His Excellency the President for that initiative, the bold initiative, actually. Many people have feared to do it. Many felt that Northern Kenya does not deserve any road because they say this actually it's not economical, but I must tell you that it is economical. The economy will increase, will open up more frontiers for more business and the other development issues. Honourable Speaker, finally, I want to urge all Kenyans. Kenya is ours, and Kenya is for each of us and everybody. Politics will never help us. We don't eat politics. This country, nobody is perfect in this world. All of us, politicians, we are not perfect. Even those of us who have been elected from the counties, we have our shortcomings. And you don't expect the president to do everything in 3 years. For those who are making noise every day, those who are politicking, I think we need to think about, we must think like Kenyans and not think like individuals. We must not blame anybody. We must say, what can we do at our own levels? Honorable Speaker, this country, there's a lot of politicking, there's too much politicking, and this will not help the country. And therefore, I wish to appeal to the politicians that let's give the president time to do the work, and let's judge him maybe in the coming 5 or 10 years, whatever is going to be taken. But I believe the president deserves 2 terms. I will say 2 terms for the president, and for those who don't like it, you can swallow whatever you want to do. But I think this country must have time to heal. The country must move forward.
Senator Omogen, what's your point of order?
I've been listening and followed very keenly the contributions of Senator Abbas, my good friend, and he has done very well. But is he not, Mr. Speaker, to make a pronouncement on this house saying that the president is in office for 10 years and those who don't want it can do whatever they want? Our constitution, Mr. Speaker, and I'm sure Abbas knows it, gives the president a mandate of 5 years, after which he will go back to the people to seek a new contract. So it's not a matter of telling Kenyans they can do what they want. What he should be telling us is that the president will have a scorecard that can enable him compete with others and get a second term. We never gave him 10 years. We gave him 5 years, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Abbas, could you just clarify and align your comments?
Honorable Speaker, what I'm not saying Kenyans must do what they want to do, but I'm saying as Kenyans we must stand together. And I'm saying, this is my own opinion now, that we must give the president time at least to finish all this development that he has planned for. That's what I say, Mr. Speaker. So it's my own opinion that the president must be given time to.
Senator Abbas, your time is up, but take note of the comments which actually were raised as a point of order. Fortunately, you have clarified that it is not you, it's your opinion you're entitled to anyway, but the mandate rests with the Kenyans to decide who to take back into office comes the next cycle of elections. And as it said, it will speak for itself depending on how Kenya views those who will be competing at that time. I will allow Senator Okongo Mogeni to contribute to the speech.
For also giving me an opportunity to make my comments and observation on the President's speech that was delivered to Parliament last week on 20th of November. Mr. Speaker, first I want to thank the President for the courage he took to address the House and the country at large, and to also express his ambition of wanting to see this country transformed to a first world. That's a good ambition. That's a good, passionate plea to Kenyans to transform our country from third world to first world. And Mr. Speaker, nobody wants to continue living in a third world. We all want to progress this country into a first world country. But Mr. Speaker, we are all not members of the choir. We make observations. We applaud the president where we must, but we also must, using this floor as representatives of the people, to tell the president where he's not gotten it right, Mr. Speaker. And we also must remind him that there are things we must do if, as a country, we want to progress to be a first world. I was taught in biology many years ago that human beings, I don't know whether it's called medulla oblongata, our brain thinks differently. There is no way the 67 of us can think the same way and have the same viewpoint as the president. So I have a few issues to observe on the president, the speech that was made by the president. The first one, Mr. Speaker, is that when you are a president serving your first term, what will for sure guarantee you a second term is your performance, the scorecard, how Kenyans will judge your performance as a president. So those who drafted the Kenyan Constitution were very, very clear that a president will be given 5 years. If he's able to perform to the expectations of Kenyans, then he will get another 5 years. If he doesn't, he will do one term, and will not be the first country in the world to see a president doing one term. It's happening, even in Africa. I think just a few months ago, we saw it in Malawi. Just the other day, I remember in Zambia, 2021, there was a one-term president. I saw it in Liberia. The other day, we saw a president in South Africa being recalled. So it's not a crime if Kenyans were to make a decision on the ballot in 2027 and say that they are not happy with Ruto's performance and make him a one-term president. So, Speaker, there is no way, and I'm saying this without any fear of contradiction, there is no way we are going to be a first world country unless we fix a few governance issues, Mr. Speaker. And that is the road that many of the countries that have transformed to first world, that's the road they have followed. The first one, Mr. Speaker, is that we must fix our governance. We must fix issues dealing with corruption, stealing of public resources going to people's pockets, Mr. Speaker. That is the route that Singapore followed, Mr. Speaker. But in this country, Mr. Speaker, we have seen people who join the cabinet. They transform to overnight millionaires, but you will never see any action from our anti-corruption bodies, Mr. Speaker. The first thing you do, even if you go to Rwanda, Mr. Speaker, the first action that Kagame took to ensure that the governance works in Rwanda was to fix issues of corruption. And you fight corruption from the top officials of government, because that's where money is stolen. If we don't fix that, we'll never get anywhere. Roads in UK, Mr. Speaker, are developed from the fines that are generated from the traffic offenders. But if we are not making any steps to create cameras on our roads so that if I'm overspeeding, if I'm stopped by a police officer, that money should go to the state. But instead, if you commit an offense on our roads here, that money ends up in people's pockets. There is a rumor, I don't know whether it's true, there is a rumor that there is a chain. That money comes all the way and goes to people in high government offices. So if the president is serious, Mr. Speaker, corruption should have been a central theme in his speech. Corruption should have been a central theme, Mr. Speaker. And the best way to hit corruption is by going after those who are perceived to be very close to you, Mr. Speaker. You don't look for your perceived critics. You go after those who are perceived to be very close to you, because those are the ones who use the name of the president because they are perceived to be close to siphon public resources, Mr. Speaker. If we go that route, then we can have hope that we transform and become a first world. And then we should not lie to the public, Mr. Speaker. I come from a tea-growing region. If our export earnings rose, the way it was said, from 138 billion to 215 billion, where did those earnings go? Where did the earnings go, Mr. Speaker? Because the payment of bonus to our farmers declined drastically. The curve was sharp, a sharp decline in earnings. In Nyamira, the average earning of a tea farmer was between 10 shillings to 12 shillings. That's the question we should be asking. If the export earnings went up, Who stole our money? That's what we need to be told. And there is no way, Mr. Speaker, you are going to transform this country to be first world when our farmers are earning peanuts, Mr. Speaker. Because you need to, for you to be a first world country, your per capita income should be $13,000 and above. Our farmers are not yet there. Look at the unemployment rates, our youths, Mr. Speaker. I was in Nyamira over the weekend. We have 3 by-elections, Mr. Speaker. And I've seen people, some representing the government side, coming to bribe voters openly, Mr. Speaker. Tell me any first world country where in by-elections you see government money being distributed freely, and where an anti-corruption agency that is supposed to prevent bribery does nothing, Mr. Speaker. How will we transform this country to first world if we cannot have responsibility, if we cannot have good governance as political leaders ourselves, Mr. Speaker? It cannot work, Mr. Speaker. Tell me a country that has gone to first world status, yet they can't even fix the potholes, Mr. Speaker. I was driving from Kemera through a national government school, Nyambaria, Mr. Speaker, full of potholes. So before we do these super highways, why can't we even fix our potholes, Mr. Speaker? I went to buy something in Gekomba. Look at the state of our roads, Mr. Speaker. So before we say we are doing these highways, we pay taxes through the fuel levy for road maintenance. Why can't this money be used to maintain our roads, Mr. Speaker? I remember when Kibaki took over in 2002, the first thing he did was to fix gullies, potholes that had become gullies on our roads, Mr. Speaker. Do we want to deteriorate to that level again as a country, Mr. Speaker? I like the promise by the president because I suffer every weekend. Because I'm not a guy who owns a chopper to fly to Nyamira. I use the road, Nairobi, Mai to Narok, Kisii. I'm happy and I welcome the decision to do all that road. It will solve traffic jams on that road. At times we spend up to 4 hours. I don't know, Mr. Speaker, whether you also drive or you fly. Maybe you fly to Bomet, but some of us who drive, oftentimes we get stuck for more than 4 hours on the Mai. So it's a good dream to ensure that, to make a proposal to do all that. And I hope that can be done sooner than later, so that that problem is solved for many of us. But also, Mr. Speaker, when we build roads, let us maintain them, Mr. Speaker. Let us maintain the roads. You cannot be a first world with the kind of garbage that we see in our city. It cannot, Mr. Speaker. Even me, where I live, I've not seen county government service on garbage collection. I have not seen, Mr. Speaker. That does not require a president to make a speech. That we should fix. So we should be telling Kenyans, this is what we have fixed, Mr. Speaker. And then we manage our debt. Because if we collect all our resources and we use it for debt payment, how will we progress? I'm not an economist, but how does that math work, Mr. Speaker? If you collect, instead of developing your country, you are using it to pay debts. It can never work, Mr. Speaker. So we also need to be disciplined. What we should be hearing from the president, Mr. Speaker, is some reform on spending. The budget for our offices, like State House, grew from 5 billion now to 10 billion, Mr. Speaker. We should see discipline in spending. I heard somebody say that SHA is working. May God Almighty forgive us. People are suffering. This SHA thing is not working. I can bring a carton box of invoices from hospitals where people get a bill of 215, SHA pays 38,000. How can you say that SHA is working? Whereas for me, you and everybody here who have a medical cover, when you go to hospital, you spend nothing. But we want to shut our eyes to the poor people who are suffering out there. And we come to this house and say, SHA is not working. SHA is not working. I'm willing to take the senators from here to my village and we speak to people and they tell you the horrendous stories of SHA. Our mission hospitals that have been serving a large populace are not being paid by SHA. They are at the brink of closing, Mr. Speaker. And yet our public hospitals don't have the bed capacity, they don't have the ICUs to attend to our patients. They don't even have the specialists. People go to this hospital, Tenwek, for treatment. I know it. I've seen many people from Nyamira being attended to at Tenwek, Mr. Speaker. So before we even make our healthcare to be qualitative, how can we be saying we are moving the country to first world, Mr. Speaker? Affordable housing. We compare Kenya with Singapore. Before Singapore went to affordable housing or social housing, they ensured that the populace was able to purchase those houses, Mr. Speaker. Because you are building houses for the people at the low level of income. I've gone to Nyamira, not even one single farmer has bought these houses, the so-called affordable houses. They can't afford. So we are living in the ozone layer. We don't live on earth here. These houses cannot be bought by the intended populace, Mr. Speaker. In fact, it's more of a business. How will Kenyans, 80% of them, own houses, yet even putting food on the table is a problem? Affording school fees remains a problem. Accessing advanced health care remains a mirage for many Kenyans. So let's be serious, Mr. Speaker, as a country. And I want to challenge those in leadership to fix the problems we are facing now, not tomorrow. Mr. Speaker, I had my good friend Senator Abbas saying that we should not make noise, we should wait for SHA to be fixed in due course. But what about those who are dying? What do we do, Mr. Speaker? We are doing a rampage every day, Mr. Speaker. This thing needs to be fixed. Are you aware, Mr. Speaker, that people out there who are not on monthly salary are being told to pay SHA 1 year in advance? 1 year in advance. Yet us salaried people, we pay monthly. Why discriminate, Mr. Speaker? And yet, Article 37 clearly states that we should not discriminate anybody based on economic or social status, Mr. Speaker. So we really must be candid to the President and tell him, you have a good vision, Mr. President, but please, there are serious challenges that Kenyans are facing that needs to be fixed now. You need to remove Kenyans from the poverty they are facing. You need to help our farmers so that they can get income that can make farming to be an occupation that makes somebody feel like they are doing something that meets their daily needs. Currently, it doesn't. The farmers who took loans are not able to service the loans because the earnings dropped more than 100%, Mr. Speaker. So I conclude by saying, well, Mr. President, it's good to want to take us to first world status, but please, first of all, fix the problems that we are facing today. Let us have your scorecard today, not about 10 years. Because if you talk about 10 years, then
your time is up, Senator Kongo Mogeni. Thank you for your contribution. Just to respond to your inquiry, you as truly users Nairobi, Narok, Bomet Road as you. Every other time I go and serve the people of Bomet who gave me the opportunity to be in this house. And it is coming. For now, I'm using that road that you're using, and it's a welcome opportunity to have the road dual that will serve us as Kenyans as well. Senator Danson Mongatana. Senator, all right, what do you want to clarify, Senator Crystal?
Speaker, thank you very much. My point of clarification is just on the course of debate. Speaker, since the majority leader moved this motion, I have noted that those who have contributed have primarily come from the majority side, and only one of us on the minority have been able to speak so far. The first person to contribute was Senator Joyce Korir, followed by Senator Cherargei, followed by Senator Tobiko, and then it was followed by Senator Abbas. And then it swung over to the minority side, but then it's going back to majority again. So I'm wondering, Chair, is it your eye that's not being thrown over on our side?
Senator Crystal, take your seat. The person who seconded this motion is Senator Eddy. That time I was still on the chair, but nonetheless, the chair has since, of course, noted your concern. I had, that's noted. Senator Crystal, you are the next to speak. From my dashboard, it's Senator Mugatana, then I cross over to Senator Crystal Asige. As to whether the previous chair had not been alternating the people speaking to the motion, I have taken note of your concern, and since I had already asked Senator Mugatana to take the floor, allow him to respond, then you will be next.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to say a few words about the President's speech. Unfortunately, I had to watch it from afar because we are in the by-elections. Mr. Speaker, I'm also glad to say that it's the first time I'm taking the floor as a qualified doctor, PhD. So I thank everybody who has congratulated me from this house. Mr. Speaker, I do not want to repeat what my very dear colleagues have already said concerning this President's speech. But Mr. Speaker, I wanted to say something about the infrastructure fund that the President has created and about the sovereign fund that the President has created. Mr. Speaker, these are tremendous things that are going to happen in this country. And they are going on without people noticing. You know, Kenyans are not seeing what is happening. Mr. Speaker, we are actually laying the foundations towards being one of the wealthiest countries in this continent, one of the most stable, economically stable countries in this continent, one of the most reliable areas of investment in this continent. Why I say so, Mr. Speaker, Norway is one of the world's richest nations. In fact, if I'm not wrong, it is in fact one of the very rich nations in this world. And what happened to Norway? Norway discovered some oil many years ago. And BP, Shell BP as usual from Britain, they ran to that country and told them, let's sign these contracts, let's do this. It's business as usual. Norway told them, no, just a moment. And they studied those contracts. And they decided that those offshore oil reserves that they have discovered will be a wealth for the Norwegians who are living there, for the Norwegians who are going to live in future. And they created a fund. And this has now become the biggest sovereign fund in the whole world. The sovereign fund of Norway is $1.5 trillion, Mr. Speaker. $1 trillion. In fact, China follows it with just about $1+ trillion. But Norway, that small little country, took a decision that we are going to create a fund that is going to benefit the current generation and the next generation. Mr. Speaker, the President talked in his speech about the constitutional responsibility that is put on us in this generation. Article 201, Mr. Speaker, says that the burdens and benefits of the use of resources and public borrowing shall be shared equitably between present and future generations. Mr. Speaker, this is the first president who is trying to make this a constitutional reality, who is trying to say, we are going to be rich now, but we are also going to plan for the future generations. Mr. Speaker, the same president went on to make an apology for what happened in the coast. Titanium was found there, Mr. Speaker. People came and they exploited that titanium. People came and literally robbed the people of Kwale County. They took away that titanium, Mr. Speaker. What you see now are holes that remain. People will tell you there used to be a very big company there mining titanium. Billions of dollars were made from that profit. But when you look at the people there, nothing really has changed. Mr. Speaker, that wealth did not belong to the current generation alone. That wealth belonged to the people who will come, to their children and their children's children. But those people who are living in Kwale now do not even have the benefit. And of course the children are left with gaping holes. Mr. Speaker, even in Tana River County, you see huge holes of gypsum mining that has gone on there. Millions have been made, but the current generation and the future generation of the people of Tana River has not benefited from the mining of gypsum. So, Mr. Speaker, I come back and say, we need this sovereign fund like yesterday. We need this sovereign fund like yesterday. We need the National Infrastructure Fund like yesterday. And I fully support the President. Why? I sit in Pan-African Parliament, as you know, Mr. Speaker. And when we are there, we were discussing countries that are supposed to be strong economies. And you know, one of the things they do is to look at how a country is credit worth. And who measures those credits for a country, the credit worthiness of a country? It is the credit rating agencies. So you have Standard & Poor's that comes to measure the credit worthiness of your nation. And you know, Mr. Speaker, the credit worthiness of a nation will be determined, amongst other things, whether that country has a sovereign fund, Mr. Speaker. When you have a sovereign fund, it means that if there are global shocks, like the dollar collapsing, like oil prices plummeting or going up, you have a fund that, Mr. Speaker, you can stabilize the economy of that country. And when Standard & Poor's comes and looks and sees you have a sovereign fund, a strong one, Mr. Speaker, then your nation is rated higher than the others. I know Mr. President has said that our rating has increased. We moved with this year from the 8th strongest economy to the 6th strongest economy, and our credit rating was moved from B to B+. That is true. But, Mr. Speaker, if we had the sovereign fund operationalized by today, we would have had a bigger, much bigger credit rating. And, Mr. Speaker, this is the thing that Kenyans are not hearing enough. This President Ruto is not joking. People go there in the streets and they call him names, they say whatever, but they don't know the kind of thinking that we are putting into this nation under this president. This president is supported by myself and by my county, Mr. Speaker, and I'm speaking with authority, because even that by-election I'm coming from now, Mr. Speaker, We are going to bring it with more than 60% because the people believe in what is happening with this president. This president, people, some people, because we have been in parliament with him, we have used to sit somewhere there when we were there in those years. He used to be in opposition, so we have seen him grow. So some people think, oh, this is just another guy. But he has some good plans. And these plans are not just for this generation, Mr. Speaker. They are intergenerational. If anything good has happened in this country, Mr. Speaker, it is the establishment of this National Infrastructure Fund and the Sovereign Fund. Mr. Speaker, you look at countries like the UAE, the Mubadala Fund. That fund, Mr. Speaker, that sovereign wealth of the people of the Emirates is the one that invests all over the world. All over the world. And it is creating more wealth for that nation because they don't just invest. They take time to think. And it's not government run, it's privately owned, Mr. Speaker. And they take time to think. They invest in the stock exchange, in various stock exchanges in the world. They get returns. They put money in private equity funds. They get returns. The country continues to earn money and becomes wealthier and wealthier. And this is what we are expecting our sovereign fund to do. Mr. Speaker, the infrastructure fund, this infrastructure fund and this sovereign fund, I think it's a brilliant idea. And many people may have missed it. But our nation is setting up the foundation under this president for a very strong, fiscally stable nation that will go into the future. Mr. Speaker, the only thing I'm begging His Excellency the President to do, let us have this law discussed thoroughly. Because, Mr. Speaker, if they are mismanaged, there's a country here in Africa where the president appointed his son to be the head of the Sovereign Wealth Fund, his daughter to be, the CEO in that. And then, Mr. Speaker, when the president was removed after the elections, his children were being jailed. Why? Because the thing was not managed properly. We want professionals. We want a strong law. We want it to be independent, Mr. Speaker, so that the actual purpose of the sovereign fund is actually realized. And Mr. Speaker, another thing, we want counties like Tana River County to benefit from this. Why? Because infrastructure in our area is still underdeveloped. And yet, Mr. Speaker, there are huge potentials to develop. Mr. Speaker, the sovereign wealth could be one of the saving graces. If money can be collected from the resources across the country and invested in some of our counties, then, Mr. Speaker, we are talking about a nation that is going to grow equitably. And, Mr. Speaker, we also want to see proper management of these funds. There should be very tough penalties against misuse, misappropriation of this fund, because it is the wealth of all Kenyans that is being put in one place, extracted from our minerals, extracted from the sale and proceeds of privatization, so that we don't have the titanium experiment repeated. Mr. Speaker, we need very strong laws so that anybody who is going to go there will be punished thoroughly if money is lost under their care. We also want it to be delinked from government. We don't want the sovereign fund to be headed by people who are connected to Treasury or to the President or to the cabinet ministers or whatever. We want the laws to give us technical people, people who will be able to stand. We want security of tenure for the holders of offices in that. We want this law, Mr. Speaker, like yesterday. I have seen the President has talked about it, but I have not seen the actual draft. I have not seen the writings of that law. We want to see even the policy first discussed in Parliament. It should not be something that just comes, because this is a fundamental thing that is happening for our nation. And my prayer is that Kenyans who are listening to me can see for themselves where we are going. We are going forward. If this nation gets this one right, Mr. Speaker, we will not have to be going to the World Bank. We will not have to be going to the IMF. We will not have to be going to the African Development Bank or Exim Bank to get loans for infrastructure. This is what is going to help us go forward. And I hope Kenyans are seeing and listening to me when I tell them that time has come to us now when we are trying to elect the next leadership, Mr. Speaker. Let us think about what we are planning here and going future. There are some people who absolutely have no agenda. It's just hatred and pure nothingness, you know, saying, let us defeat this guy. Have they actually seen these issues that we are putting before them? Mr. Speaker, I urge even the people who are in opposition, those who think that we are doing nothing, please, when you stand up, tell us what you think also about the Sovereign Fund, the National Infrastructure Fund. What do you think of these ideas? And what is your alternative instead of standing on top of cars and hurling abuses? It's time that we do intelligent politics. Mr. Speaker, I'm very disappointed by some people who I think should be knowing better, but they do horrible statements and no policy.
Senator Mugatana, your time is up. Thank you for your contribution. And now I call upon Senator Crystal Asige to give Senator Crystal the microphone. Thank you, Senator. Proceed.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, as we consider the third State of the Nation address by the President last week, it's necessary that we examine not only the ambitions set before us, but also to own up to the structural gaps and inaccuracies that will certainly impede equitable progress in our country. My thoughts after listening to the address are ones of careful consideration, Speaker, but also mixed with serious concern. I acknowledge, of course, the ambition reflected in the government's plan for energy expansion, for infrastructure growth, youth development programs, and digital transformation. And I also recognize the intention to move the country forward and create a new story for Kenyans to tell. However, Speaker, there are two sides to every story, maybe even three, which we have the responsibility as legislators to analyze critically, and in the words of the President himself in the speech, who in this address said, "It is a story that we will see in the numbers," he said, "feel in the homes," he said, "and trace in the lives transformed across the Republic." Mr. Speaker, in the constellation of promises made in this address, I heard construction of 50 dams, mega dams in the country, construction of 2,500 dual carriageways across the country, 28,000 kilometers of roads across the country, 10,000 megawatts of power, he said. He also mentioned about 2.5 million acres of irrigation across the country. But Speaker, all that with a whopping budget of 5 trillion shillings in less than 2 years, because as we all know, in 2 years' time, his mandate ends. Also, Speaker, the State of the Nation address, like the two previous addresses before it, falls short of providing clear, enforceable commitments to the inclusion of persons with disabilities and women, whose rights are not optional but constitutionally protected under Articles 10, 27, 43, and also 54. Those are not mentioned, Mr. Speaker. I was curious about that. It was also silent on the roadmap towards equitable allocation of resources for PWDs, social protection of the elderly, and also reporting back to Kenyans of speedily enacted laws, including the ones which just passed, Social Protection Act, the Cybercrimes Amendment Act, that was also fast-tracked, the National Lands Commission Amendment Act, also just passed, or the Wildlife Conservation Management Amendment Act, also passed very quickly. In fact, Speaker, Kenyans were waiting to hear the reason for the construction of hotels and camps on riparian lands in the Masai Mara, which interfere with wildlife corridors and which will, in the future, Mr. Speaker, have a windfall of astonishing proportions if not addressed. But they were not addressed in this address. Curiously as well, and of great concern for over half of our population, which are women of Kenya, after lending a significant portion of his last address just a year ago to calling out the astronomical rise of gender-based violence in this country. After doing all that, and even gazetting a technical working group headed by Madam Baraza to investigate these cases, Mr. Speaker, the President radio silenced on this topic. No report to the women about what the administration has done to protect the rights and lives of the women. He issued dozens of promises in his manifesto just a few years ago. And that is a slap in the face to all women everywhere. I also found that the tone was used to almost bash the ordinary Kenyan for wanting simple and basic, but very crucially important aspirations to be addressed, to be incredibly distasteful, Speaker. Phrases like average thinking and ordinary ideas were littered all over this address. I don't know why. As if to dismiss the average Kenyan and their communal desires for simple things: running water, stable electricity, assured food and shelter, functioning healthcare, an end to corruption, inclusive education. Not everyone, Mr. Speaker, has the luxury of marveling at the leaps and bounds of these Asian tigers, because food on their plates and money on their pockets is still something that is an impossible struggle, even until today. We can't all be presidents, Speaker, or visionaries, and this elitist tone that was taken, I fear, will lead to further dislike and disengagement from the general public, especially those in rural areas, if it continues. And Mr. Speaker, remember, ordinary Kenyans, their votes are not just ordinary. Basic thoughts and ideas, their votes are not just basic. They also count. But before I continue there, let me at least highlight some of the things that have at least shone a good light on Kenya. The inflation part, Kenyan's inflation, absolutely, which has reduced, and that is commendable, and we acknowledge that. We also, on foreign reserves, I also note that this was also a good part of the speech for me, listening to that, promising as well. On agriculture, Speaker, the President overstated first lighter distribution, claiming 21 million bags when only about 3 million were distributed in 2022, according to data. He also misrepresented the maize flour prices, citing KS about 120 shillings instead of the typical 180 to 200 shillings per bag, per packet. Mr. Speaker, on health, as stated in this address, about 10,000 facilities are enrolled in SHA, he said. But feedback from workers and patients across the country suggests uneven service quality and access. While 8.9 million households are claimed to be visited by community health promoters in this speech, there is limited evidence of any actual health care delivered or follow-up care delivered. Claims of 9.9 million diabetes screenings and 6.5 million hypertension screenings across the countries, those exist in his speech, but it's unclear what treatment or management solutions were being provided to those who have been screened, if any, which is the most important part of healthcare. Let's not just identify, but let's demonstrate what has been done to manage or improve the health status of all of these patients. Because data confirms that diabetes mortality rates remains high and conditions exacerbated by hypertension still persists in this country, despite all these screenings. Also, the equipment that he spoke of, though county level experience is varied and unclear where these services are consistently free or subject to fees with these equipments. Overall, Speaker, while reporting shows large-scale initiatives being rolled out across the country, gaps in implementation, quality of care, and follow-up reduce their effectiveness and leave questions about the real impact on our public health. And that was clear in this speech. Mr. Speaker, we can boast about how beautiful, shiny, and luxurious this 5 trillion shilling Rolls-Royce is going to be one day. But if we don't look at under the hood of this machine, the oil levels, the water levels, the fuel levels, this machine will never move at all. Education and employment, Speaker. The Teacher Service Commission has been hiring teachers, he said, yes, with plans of recruiting 24,000 more by January. And a total of 60,000 to 76,000 hires over several years. That's plausible with a plan. Mr. Speaker, 1,600 labs and several classrooms were also documented in the speech. However, youth unemployment remains high at over 30%, and about 70% of graduates struggle to find formal employment. That's data, that's facts. And even though all this progress and interventions are being spoken about, again, what's really happening on the ground? Because behind the mics that we're speaking on, the people on the ground will tell us the truth. The backbone of our economy, Speaker, SME economy. He spoke of this. Despite numerous interventions in this sector, the absence of a legal framework leaves young entrepreneurs and innovators vulnerable. With no law to govern this sector, Speaker, my startup bill was supposed to address this gap. But several significant and institutional barriers continue to block its passage in this parliament, undermining the protection and growth of Kenya's startup ecosystem. It offers many solutions, the startup bill of mine, for innovators and entrepreneurs in Kenya. My startup bill remains proverbially stuck in the mud, and I don't understand why. And I would like to urge and employ senators and also members of Parliament and National Assembly to support its passage. A few red flags that I also want to highlight as the reasons causing for the Senate and National Assembly to be at odds with agreeing on several sections of my bill are as follows. 1, startups are being misclassified as MSMEs, ignoring their unique needs and challenges, because as you know, Speaker, these are two different things. Mismatched regulation and support then will follow if we don't agree on these clauses. Oversight has been shifted as well to a multi-agency startup committee in the ministry responsible for MSMEs, creating inefficiencies and misalignment with global best practices, Speaker, something that we also need to agree on. The involvement of multiple institutions leading...
Crystal, just take note of the remainder of your time. You've got under 4 minutes remaining.
Thank you, Speaker.
To conclude. Thank you.
Multiple institutions will lead to fragmentation as well, Speaker, overlaps as well, and accountability gaps if we don't address these in our mediation process of the startup bill. The mandate of county governments has also been deliberately excluded through the National Assembly amendments, weakening local support and clawing back on devolution entirely. There's a proposal for a new startup fund as well, which risks duplicating the already existing financial mechanisms set aside for startups in this country. I don't know why we cannot agree on these amendments. Without the Senate and National Assembly coming together and agreeing on clear county roles, streamlined regulations, and also actionable guidelines for incentives and intellectual property rights, Mr. Speaker, this bill will not holistically support young entrepreneurs and innovators in this country, and they have rights. Though this address claims there are no leakages as well, or on platforms such as eCitizen, Speaker, you'll remember the Auditor General flagging gross mismanagement and potential corruption amounting to 9.6 billion shillings, with reasons including overcharging and poor controls. I don't know about you, Speaker, but that certainly sounds like an uncontained leakage. Further still, Speaker, on the platform, it may have improved access to government services, but remains frustratingly inaccessible to persons with disabilities because of digital inaccessibility, with no tangible solutions in sight. For years, Speaker, the country has been led by politicians who excel at microphones, slogans, and international theatrics, especially when seeking approval from the Western gaze. This is what one man said. And I hope that this debate will not prove this to be true, Speaker. Let's tell Kenyans the real story, And this is the story that I have deduced from this year's State of a Nation address. A story whose facts, the president says, and I quote, are available for all to examine, except perhaps for the cynical who have no facts. I, for one, Mr. President, I'm not a cynic. I am just a Kenyan who bothered to test the veracity of this address, which I encourage us all to do, even the Kenyans listening to the sound of my voice, Mr. Speaker, because even if you have the best seeds, as the good book says, it doesn't matter if you have the best seeds. If it does not fall on fertile soil, then it will not grow. All these ideas and ambitions will not grow if it does not grow on fertile soil. And as another senator has said before, for me, the first thing that you would have to tackle for an upward trajectory to get to the Singapores and to the Asian tigers, as they have been called, is to eliminate corruption and have a zero tolerance policy on the same. Without that, we're just talking. I thank you.
Thank you, Senator Crystal. I call upon Senator Manzo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to contribute on this very important motion. Mr. Speaker, a great scholar once said, happy are those who make their dreams come true. I wish this dream of Kenyans could come true. Mr. Speaker, there are quite a number of indicators which takes a nation to the first world. Number one, there is a lot of sovereign wealth around. The people of Kenya themselves are sovereign wealth. The land of Kenya is sovereign wealth. Wealth creation through agriculture is sovereign wealth. Taxes are sovereign wealth. The central bank is full of sovereign wealth, and Treasury is processing it. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, if we made the cost of living lower by lowering the cost of fuel and lowering the cost of electricity, many Kenyans will invest in agriculture, in animal farming, and in crop farming, and many Kenyans will also invest in industries, and investors will also come to the country, and we will be able to afford affordable housing. We'll be able to grow the economy. But all these, as have been observed by Senator Christabel, cannot happen when corruption is the main thing around. Mr. Speaker, Singapore and Malaysia first dealt with corruption. In China, where it's a first world, there is a death sentence for corrupt people. But what do we have in our country? First, EACC has a lot of cases being investigated for a long time. One of it was the construction of the headquarters of Tharaka Nithi County at Katanwa. The construction stopped because EACC was investigating. Many years have now passed. No one has been charged, and Kathwana has told. Mr. Speaker, if EACC is not into its act and does not help curb corruption, and there's no goodwill from investigators to present credible cases to the DPP, then that is a sunken dream. Mr. Speaker, it must start with every single Kenyan. Corruption is everywhere in Kenya. It is in churches, it is in government, it is in parliament, it is in judiciary, it is with the executive. And therefore, we must overhaul our whole system of dealing and everyone wanting to protect the sovereign wealth by not stealing and amassing for themselves. Almost every Kenyan looks forward into making quick wealth, and the best way you can find is like hard work. But I want to liken the President, William Ruto, to the person in the Bible who was planting, who sowed seeds. Some fell in fertile soil, some fell in thorns, some fell in stones, and they never grew into anything. I'm hoping a little bit out of the hard work of Kenyans and the good rains which we've been experiencing, now gone, Kenyans were able to work very hard and fed for themselves. And that was, seized on good soil. But when it comes to management,
Senator Manzo, you will hold your contribution until when the House resumes. You have got a balance of 11 minutes to continue contribution to the motion when the House resumes. Now, Honorable Senators, it is now 6:30 p.m. Time to adjourn the Senate. The Senate therefore stands adjourned until tomorrow, Wednesday, 26th of November, 2025 at 9:30 a.m.